Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I'm going to talk about the ten survival mistakes that I've witnessed myself. But before we start, if you're interested in detective stories, I've written this is the first of an 11-part series that about a detective. If you're interested, look in the description down below. So let's get started with the video. Um, the biggest survival mistake that I've personally seen. To some people, this will not sound like really survival mistakes, but even small mistakes can lead to dangerous situations or long-term health effects. So survival is not only about when you're going to camping or going abroad. It could be just in everyday life situations, or like we saw during the pandemic, that people did certain things wrong. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the 10 things that I've seen and I said to myself, what the fuck are you doing? All right. So the first one is store and pump gasoline in open containers in the car. Yeah, I think a lot of preppers have seen this during the rise of the price of fuel and gas. And I must say, I never thought I would see it, but people actually do this. They bring their car to a to a gas station with an open lid, or just any contain, and in the best cases, even containers that are not suited for gasoline. So yeah, those people, they had like some sort of how do you say this, boxes that they filled with gasoline that are open, or containers that are not well shut off and are not designed to hold actually liquids. Gasoline is very dangerous for this. It's not only about the spilling of the fluid that might ignite. It's about the toxic gases, that vapors that it will give off, and it's actually the vapors that make the in a tiny space that will make the risk of of an explosive reaction very likely. So to all people who think that this is a good idea, don't buy a proper container to hold fuel. There's a reason why these are things are designed to hold fuel, and it's better for your health. Even if you only do it once because you think, I will only need to do this once. Think about if you have vapors or spilled fuel inside of a car. That's very hard to get out. You will take the few weeks later, you will take your kids or do with you on grocery stores or somewhere else, and they are sitting in those toxic fumes and places where the fuel have spilled, and that will be detrimental to their long-term health. So please don't do this. All right. The next thing is to buy something on an impulse en masse. During This is an infamous thing, the toilet paper run. This is yet again during in the beginning of the pandemic. A lot of preppers have seen this and laughed their asses off. I myself as well. uh, that is when people started to hoarding stuff that would get out would not be available soon because for some shortages, and people started to buy toilet paper en masse. It was actually kind of, I thought these things would only happen in places like in America or something, but I saw it myself at a local store. People bought shopping carts full of how do you say this, toilet rolls of toilet papers. And I thought to myself, it's not really the toilet papers you need. You need to buy the foods before they ran out, and actually that happened. So they would have more. They How did Canadian preppers set this again? They bought more toilet paper than food to wipe it off with. So yeah, that's a very impulsive and not thinking ahead in the future kind of perspective for that most people will have, because they heard on the news, oh, this will happen, but they only think, oh, I will need to get this now, and everyone has the same idea and will rush to the store for that same item. So be a little bit more pre-sighted about those kind of situations. All right, next, the government that tells people inefficient and even dangerous techniques or preventive measurements in certain situations. We've seen this during the pandemic. In the beginning of the pandemic, some governments were, how do you say this? They did not know the full scale or the precise transmissions of the coronavirus, for example, and they were scared that people would, like with the toilet paper, rush towards the masks and buy them all en masse, so there are no masks left anymore for the healthcare workers and essential workers. So yeah, that's kind of a I understand why they did it, but yet again, if you want to protect those same workers, you have to take you will have to prevent that people will go to the healthcare professionals in the first place. So that was a lie, and a lie that cost many people's their lives. So yeah, people's lives could have been saved or prolonged or whatever. If you listen to your government, try to take everything with a grain of salt, because they do not always know more than you, and their mainly job is to maintain order. So try to think ahead, try to think more about the problem, try to be more critical. The same thing here in Belgium. Uh, the people in the government, they also in the beginning especially did not know what would be the best, and they had to listen to two sort of people. First of all, they had to listen to the scientists who said diseases work like this, they transmitted like this, and people should do this. But yeah, on the other side, they had to run a country. They listened to people like economics and those kind of people, business leaders, and all those people that are more interested in the money, because that's their field of expertise. It's not because they are evil. It's not always, I will mention, because they are evil or only think about money, but it's because that's their field of expertise, and the scientists their field of expertise, and those government people had to make a decision between something to compromise, and that's typical in Belgium. So yeah, many lives could have been saved if we would have taken the things from the scientists more instead of the economics. But then again, then the country would be in trouble. So it's a difficult decision to make, but yeah, humans will be human, I guess. Next thing, written it down. Oh, that is something that I saw at my work. Somebody had a big cut in his arm, and yeah, I'm some other person told him, what did he say again? Burn the wound, close the wound with burning turpentine or something. And I was like, dude, don't don't listen to that guy. That guy would have, if he would have wounds, just like Rambo, put something a liquid on it and burn it shut. But yeah, burning wounds are more infectious because are more sensitive to infections in the first place. Second, you don't only have a cut now, you also have dead flesh, because dead flesh don't regenerate. So yeah, and even if he did that and burn it close, if there was any kind of dirty particles or pathogens inside of the wound that is now burned shut, then yeah, you have even more risk to an infection on a burning wound. So don't listen to those kind of guys who do this makeshift Rambo style kind of first aid. So yeah, that was something else that blew my mind when I heard it. When I heard him saying that. Next thing is, there was also yet again during the pandemic, and that was people who who followed instructions of the government, but did not seem to know why of how. And we all know about those people who wear the mask beneath the nose, or with their chin with the below the chin with their chin diapers. Yeah, those people, they only did it because they had to, but they did not understand or did not care about why. So they walk around, they say, "Oh, I'm protected, I have a mask," but Some people wore the mask under the nose, on their chin, or did not wear the mask properly, put it off, just put it inside of their pocket, or touched the inside with their hands that touched everything that could be contaminated. And that was just so annoying to see those people. I don't know if they were idiots or if they were just ignorant. And I distinguish those two because an idiot is somebody who's just doesn't care. All right. Next thing, um, rely on unexpected help. What do I mean by that? I've seen some people who, especially some women, who are not, how do we say this? Who are not aware of the danger that might could happen. Because an example is they would go to a festival where you could camp, but they did not have camping equipment or did not got a ticket in time. So what was their strategy? They would go to the camping, set up a dating app, and look for the nearest tent that would be interested. But that's very dangerous. You do not know if you first of all you're not prepared for anything that could happen. So if you're thrown out of the tent the next day, then you're standing there, you're more susceptible to theft, robbery, rape, abuse, those kind of things. If you rely on those things, like they just went to there and reacted to the first person and slept in their tent. But for the same thing, there are persons that rely on those and try to take abuse of those, or they could have STD, or they expect something in exchange that the girls are not perhaps willing to do. So yeah, that's kind of a situational awareness that is lacking with those kind of individuals. So please do always be prepared and do not rely on the help of others just because you think people are always nice. Most people will be nice, but there is always that one asshole or that one murderous psychopath that you need to watch out for, that you will not see coming. So don't set you up to become a victim is what I'm trying to say. The next thing, open a lock with an ineffective technique. Like I said before, I always carry a picklock set to just in case something. One of my colleagues leave the key of their locker inside of their locker and close it off. But I noticed something, and that was when people first tried to open it themselves, they would do it on ways that are actually not effective. The one of the ways was one of the guys took a handkerchief and he said it was an old army trick, put it around the chain, around the lock, and start to yank it, but it did not budge. And other people started to take a hammer and a piece of metal and started to bash in an ineffective way that the lock would even be more harder to open or cut open. And yeah, imagine if you're in a situation where you're being kidnapped, trapped inside of a building after work, and they've forgotten you, or perhaps during a disaster and you need to, or a spree killing, and you need to get out of a building and there is a locked exit or something. Well, if you are going to do those things, it will take more time. You will probably hurt yourself because of, like with the hammer, they almost hit their own fingers, or you will make noise that will attract bad people like your kidnappers or a spree killer. And yeah, so if you know more techniques or alternative ways or more improvised ways to open locks, well, by the way, watch my video about how to open locks in improvised ways. Um, that way you could be quicker outside the danger zone. So have some other techniques always at hand, or know how to open a lock without making too much noise, or in a faster way that is more effective without hurting you. All right. Next, the long-term use of PEP drugs. What do I mean by that? There are a lot of people, we know them. The people who cannot function without coffee, the people who are having a lack of sleep, are working too hard or too long. And yeah, that could be actually be dangerous because they usually tend to rely more on something to keep them awake, like energy drinks, coffee, and those kind of things. But those are in the first place unhealthy, and those are not long term uses of for staying awake and alert at work or some other situation that you need to be awake for. That's and many people rely on this. And like I said, it's bad for your health. You will at a certain moment you will collapse and you will need it. How do you say this? You will work longer, but a crash will be and a crash and a recovery will be harder and longer because you rely on those. So imagine if you're at work for so many hours and you have to control certain equipment or tools, and if you get that crash or you're too hyper to work with it safely, or you're too much on the pep drugs, like I said, that you could make dangerous situations not only for yourself but also for the people around you, especially if you're driving a car. Just if you have to do such long works, like long work hours, long drives, just do it on a more natural way. Take regular naps, keep eat healthy, and yeah, keep yourself fresh and keep yourself mentally pepped, like with meditation or just positive mindsets, humor. But don't rely on chemicals is perhaps a good way to get you through the day. All right. Next thing is another thing is during certain situations at work, for example, is we have this suction system that will keep sawdust and other pieces of wood outside of the air, and it will suck it up to one container. But one time when we had to change the container, somebody did not had patient enough, took the hose out while the motor was still running, and it just the whole hangar was full of sawdust. But some people, they did not get out of the zone. They thought, man, they almost laughed actually. They were laughing. They were just standing there waiting till they could till the sawdust settled. But I immediately got to my gas mask, or that I always keep at my work, or at least I would say I said to others, so keep your mouth covered or something. But some people did just not care, were ignorant, or just said, well, you have to die of something. That's kind of a bad mentality and situational awareness. It's not because you encounter such a situation. It could be smoke, sawdust, just regular dust, or a sandstorm, bowl. Doesn't matter what it is. If something could get into your lungs, cover your mouth with everything that with the nearest thing that you got, because your lungs will be fucked for not in a immediate time, but over a long time period. So that's something that you need to do in everyday situations. Always be alert. Think about long-term distance, survival situations, and for your health, for yourself, for your family, friends. So that's just what I wanted to say about this. So I would say thank you for watching. Subscribe, I would appreciate it. Share this video, like if you have encountered certain survival mistakes or some bad survival strategies that people did. Leave it in the comments. I'm always in for some funny stories. So yeah, thank you for watching and cheers.